The cloud window system dial.
All right. Hello. For those of you on YouTube or listening on the Divinely podcast, welcome. So I have magic tricks for why my monitor is turned off so you can just see the glow of the light. I'll change the light color in a little bit, but the title of this video is If You Think You Do Not Vibe, then I want you to hear this message, because we all vibe. I was thinking about emotions and how, people like in this time and space, like feeling emotions or processing emotions is really happening for a lot of people, and a lot of like deep emotions are happening for a lot of people. And I know I've mentioned the book, The Body Keeps the Score. I know I've mentioned that in a couple of previous videos, maybe not so much YouTube, but I'm going to mention it now. But The Body Keeps the Score is all about how we store emotions in our body. And I really thought that like it was a perfect opportunity or moment to talk about how these emotions are stored, and to then like talk about how these emotions carry a frequency. They're measured in hertz, H-E-R-T-Z. You can look up, search the internet for the hertz scale for emotions or whatever, something like that. And if you can't access the images or whatever, you can contact me. But so the lowest frequency emotions are things like guilt, shame, fear, and grief, anger. Those are like the lowest frequency emotions. So if you're a person who's constantly like, I feel guilty because that, and I don't want to make any emotion wrong, because as humans, we have to experience the lows and the highs, right? Like we have to experience sadness to know joy. We have to experience, heartbreak to know true love, right? Anticipation versus anxiety, and anxiety is just fear. And so we have to experience all of them to know what the other feels like. And so we do a lot of dipping up and down in the frequencies, but each of the emotions carries a frequency, starting at around, I believe guilt and shame started around a frequency of about 35, maybe something like that, 50. And then all the way up to, peace, joy, enlightenment, which is up in the 600, 700 plus range. And in the middle at about 400 is the happiness, joy. 500 range is the area of love and whatnot. And so if we think about this, and these are all associated with color as well. And since I talk about the chakras being different colors, right? The red chakra is the root, orange is sacral, yellow is solar plexus, green is the heart, blue is the throat, purple or indigo is third eye, and the crown is purple or like light purple or so, or clear even. And so the closer we are connected with the divine, right? Because third eye and crown are spiritual, they're divine chakras. The closer we're connected with those, and then the more connected we are. And so if you think about all of that, and then connect that to
your internet connection is unstable.
Connect that to emotions being in those lower frequencies, blockages in those chakras, in the sacral chakra, in the solar plexus, in the root chakra. That's all your digestive system, right? A lot of and your endocrine system and other things. Your back, my back does a lot of things when I'm processing anger or fear, or when I'm releasing something, releasing some old, ways of being that no longer serve me. My back tends to act up. And the more, I tell you what, y'all, I used to have some pretty serious back issues. And the more I have tapped into understanding what's going on with my body or with my emotional processing, the more I understand and how to work through the emotional part of why my back is is being problematic. So hertz is the measure of vibration, it's a measure of frequency, it's a measure of sound. And so you might often see on like Insight Timer, maybe even on YouTube or whatever, meditation app or source you're using, you may see things like 432 hertz, 528 hertz, right? These are sound frequencies directly related to healing or unblocking these areas, right? So it's really fascinating to me as I continue to dive into studying sound healing and color and the use of it and texture and all of that. And so I'm going to change the light color to purple, right? A little more enlightening, probably a lot more illuminating. And so to kind of wrap this up, like the different levels of light, so red, or the different levels of color, so red, orange, yellow, and then the green, which is the bridge between the two, because then we have the blues all the way up to the purples. And so all of the emotional storage, like grief is one to talk about. It's in the middle. We tend to hold grief in our lungs. And so if you are not processing grief, right, of a lost loved ones, or maybe you're grieving, just the loss of something in your life, and you don't allow that grief to pass through your body or work through it or cry through it, or all of the releasing things about grief, it's going to store in your respiratory system. And so I often mention like moving emotions through your body. And that is exactly what I mean. When you are feeling guilt or shame around something, you might be severely constipated. If you are feeling a lack of personal power, right, you might have indigestion, right? And the way to heal this or unblock those chakras is sound, because the sounds are associated with unblocking, or the color, right, of the thing, right? So if you're dealing with solar plexus, like yellow, eating yellow vegetables, wearing yellow, all of the different things. I used to be very resistant to red. I don't know why. I don't know why, but I was like, no, I did not like red. And then I learned that red was about your root and money and relationships and all of that. Oh, okay, let me try to love red. Right. So obviously I'm a huge fan of purple and blues, y'all know this, and green. Those tend to be my favorites. And I tend to be in the clouds a lot. I tend to visualize and journal, and I want to create, but I don't actually want to do the like nuts and bolts of creating, right? I don't actually want to sit down and do all of the little tactical things. That's what I've been practicing for the past year or so, is really digging in and hustling and grinding the tactical things. And by that, I mean simple things like doing the dishes, making my bed, doing my laundry. Like these things are actually, I don't want to say difficult, but they're the tactical parts of daily life that like I'd rather sit in a daydream and not do. And so anyway, if any of this relates or resonates or whatever, I do invite you to the next time you're on like your meditation app, or even like I said here on YouTube, is look for the hertz sound wave sounds. They're tuned specifically for healing the different emotional, like they're all associated with emotion, as are the colors. And so I'm working on multi-sensory type stuff because I do cater to an audience that doesn't necessarily understand color. And so while I love color and the chakras love color, there are other ways to associate chakra cleansing, healing, and unblocking. And so kind of working on that a little bit. So thank you so much for tuning in. I do offer one-to-one Reiki plus coaching distance. And so if that's something that interests you, please shoot me an email, sewcoaching@gmail.com, and we can set that up. And I would love to work with you and help you, support you through whatever is coming up for you. And so I know there's a lot coming up for a lot of people. And I've done Reiki distance and I've done in person, and honestly love being that conduit to support you in opening you up and all of that. And yeah, it's kind of an honor, and it's really an honor. So anyway, all right, that's all I've got today. I hope this was helpful and resonated and all of that, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.
Stop recording now and stop cloud recording.